Hello, my name is Bob, and today we are reviewing the Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm joined today by Ashley,
Hi.
Beans,
Yo, yo.
and Yusuf.
Hello.
And each of us has played it on a different version of Xbox. We're starting off, let's say Yusuf, you actually haven't played the game yet, but you are downloading it, if I'm correct.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. And then we
Yeah.
have Ashley, who played it on the Xbox One S,
Yes.
and Beans has played it on Xbox One X.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and then myself, I played it on Series X on quality mode, and I also tested out performance mode. So first things first, overall impressions of the game, I guess. Ashley, we'll start out with you. Let's hear you.
So I was pretty shocked. As far as playing on a base Xbox, it's still a really beautiful game. Yeah, I'm just in awe of it's super vibrant and the colors and just the way the game's put together, even for the base model Xbox, is gorgeous.
Yeah, because we watched your stream, I think a couple of days ago, and
Mhm.
I myself was shocked of actually how well it ran. Now, of course, you can't see the actual detail when streaming because of encoding issues and stuff like that. It's like compressed, but it still looked pretty good.
Yeah, I was shocked. I had minimal bugs. I had one weird issue with some characters that had a weird shadow thing on them, but besides that, I didn't really experience any of the bugs that a lot of people that played on the base model had issues with.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So, Beans, you played it on the One X. What's your impression of the game?
Yes. First off, I just gotta say that, goddamn, it's one of the best looking games I've ever played. Graphic wise, I really don't have any complaints at all. There's minor frame rate issues here and there, but I haven't really noticed a lot to where like it's going under, I'd say 25, 20. It usually stays consistent around there. And overall, I'm just enjoying the hell out of it. There was a couple minor issues that I've had trying to find some things, but I figured out that was actually my gamma correction. I never actually paid attention to it. So now that I fixed it, I'm actually able to see things a lot better now. But yeah, I haven't really haven't had any issues like bugs at all. Yeah, no games crashing, no freezing. I haven't really seen any like texture pop-ins. So overall, my experience has been great.
So there's two versions down. Now, Yusuf, you actually haven't played the game at all. But
No,
you
I
saw
haven't, but
a lot
I-
of videos on YouTube. Now, what was your impression
Yes, I did.
of versions that you saw on YouTube? Did you see like major
So
differences?
the first version I saw was on the PS5 with the Street Kit, which I really liked. First of all, I noticed that the graphics were like great even without RTX, since the new gen consoles didn't get the patch yet. The lighting was still like quite amazing, and I really like the gameplay. I like the driving. I was really expecting it to be like fucking Watch Dogs, since like the driving sucks on that game, but I heard that it's real good, and the aiming too. Like the combat mechanics are also like really complex and like really good. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I have to say that what you said about Watch Dogs and other games, I mean, we all know about Breakpoint. Driving is just
Yeah.
but at least for me, driving in this game, they kind of nailed it. Other than, I have to say, the motorcycle class. I don't know if any of you rode a motorcycle in Cyberpunk.
I have for a few minutes, and yeah, it's I could say the driving is a little clunky. But of course, with these types of games, they don't focus on driving like as their main point on the game. They focus more on the combat and everything else. so I can always give it away, like, let it slide. But compared to something like Watch Dogs, yeah, it's vastly improved.
It's just the motorcycle class, at least for me, it was like it felt kind of slippery, if that makes sense.
Yes, you slide around a lot. You do, yeah.
So next up, texture quality and well, I mean, we already discussed it a little bit. Frame rate issues. Once again, Ashley, we'll start with you on the Xbox One S. Did you see any weird stuff going on with texture pop-ins, resolutions, or frame rate?
So personally, I didn't really notice much. I've been playing on the base Xbox for other games as well. So for me personally, I don't see a difference because I've never gone to a newer Xbox then gone back. But as far as comparing to other people that I've seen play, there is a slight difference. Things are a lot smoother in the newer versions of the Xbox. But again, like I said earlier, for the base model, for the Xbox Series S, the fact that it still looks gorgeous to me is awesome. Now, I did notice when I use the photography mode, the camera mode, the pictures do look a tiny bit grainy. But I mean, I think that's to be expected just because it is the S. But still overall.
Like the picture mode that you say right now, could you see that the resolution inside the picture mode was different than the actual game resolution?
I feel like it honestly depends on if you use the filter and how you edit your photo in the in-game camera as well. I haven't tried. The first picture I ever took, and the only picture I've ever took on there, I did use a filter on it from the in-game. I should have probably just taken a regular no filter in-game picture to compare. But as far as I could tell, it didn't seem to change that much. Now, the picture that I did, it was a blurred background. So in the background, you could kind of see a little more of the resolution change and that it was a little bit more grainy.
All right. Well, next up, Beans, your impressions on the One X. Go ahead.
Well, like I was mentioning earlier, I haven't really noticed any major frame rate issues, and resolution is just great. I haven't really messed with the camera, like the camera editor at all, so I can't really say how good pictures look. But just by playing the game, I really don't have anything bad to say. I haven't seen any pop-ins. I haven't seen any like crazy texture drags or character models like looking all wonky and whatnot. It's just pretty much solid.
Yeah, because I did notice that the difference between the Xbox version and the PlayStation version is that for some reason Xbox does have higher quality. They have more NPCs walking around than PlayStation for some reason, and also the textures and filtering options are a little bit higher than on PlayStation. So in terms of what I saw from the One X, at least, it seems to be holding it pretty well.
Oh yeah, it definitely runs smooth. I haven't heard my Xbox like going crazy or anything like that. The jet engines aren't going off, Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that problem either, even on my S. I haven't had it boot up and sound like it's about to fly off, so.
Yeah, because as a comparison, I still remember then with Red Dead Redemption, to name one open world game, that my Xbox was constantly trying to blow air out every 5 minutes or something.
Oh yeah, I had that same problem with Red Dead constantly.
Yeah, even with the One X, I have that whenever I play Red Dead Redemption, or even GTA. The GTA, like I'll hear the fans start kicking in real hard, but I don't know.
Nothing on Cyberpunk in terms of.
Mm-mm.
Nothing.
Oh, that's interesting. So next up, I'd say the hype. You guys all witnessed the hype. Yusuf, how did you learn
Yeah.
about Cyberpunk, and what did you notice about the whole hype that's built around it?
So, like when I first like heard about Cyberpunk, it wasn't like when it first was announced, like years ago or whenever. Like it was like pretty recently, like just like 3 months ago or something. So I like started digging deeper into this game, seeing like how it came to be so hyped and like everything, because like it was so hyped in like the recent 3 months, and everyone was like so negative about the fact that how it keeps on getting delayed, because it got delayed like fucking 3 times. But it's finally out now, so yeah, I'm gonna get to play it, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm really excited about seeing you play the game for the first time, because you've been like on
Yeah.
the sideline for like a good week now, seeing everyone play it, and I mean, you're in for quite an experience, if I have to say so myself.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Now quickly, my recap on the playthrough on Series X. Obviously, what I've seen is by far the best version for console that you can play on. The highest resolution, most steady frame rate. But I did have some issues. Now, granted, patch 1.04 came out today, so I haven't been playing it for a lot of hours yet. But before that, I did have issues where, and one of the major bugs were when I was driving around with a car. All of a sudden, the car would stop. It seems like the game would freeze, and then after like 5 or 10 seconds, the game would run again. And I had that for like 2, 3, 4 times already when driving a car. I don't know if you guys experienced that problem.
I haven't
Interesting.
experienced that
actually
problem
haven't.
myself. I mean, granted, I haven't played as much as you, but driving around, when I'm driving around, I'm not like going full throttle. I'm actually like sitting, driving around, looking at everything, because I just can't stop looking at like all the visuals. I don't know. So I just take my time when cruising around. The only thing, like I said, with the bikes though, that's when I was having issues, like trying to slow down, you just end up sliding.
No, but there was like a major. There was actually a bug that I had where the game would just appear to freeze, and then it unfroze.
Huh.
And I was driving.
So yeah.
At that moment, I was streaming, and so I was more paying attention to the chat, and all of a sudden I looked up and I was like, "Oh shit, here we go!" The game froze, and then.
Yeah, and I remember you also having the problem where you couldn't switch the camera, even though like it said the control was like right D-pad switch the camera, and even though you clicked it, you couldn't.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you were complaining about that.
Yeah, it was locked to first person in the car, and for whatever reason, it was only on the first playthrough. So I don't know if you saved the game by then, you restart it, it's fixed. But the issue was gone afterwards. I never had an issue anymore. And I did saw it on YouTube videos that people had it also. I don't know if it's related to some weird bug that the first time you're in the car it remains that way, or the first up until your first save. But that definitely was an issue also. And well, I mean the other bugs were too small to mention. At least on the Series X, it wasn't anything game breaking. It wasn't something annoying. So yeah, I hardly had issues.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if there has been any bugs that I've encountered, they've been so minor that I don't even notice them. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So, performance mode. Quickly, I'll talk about that. That's only on the Series X, guys. PlayStation 5 does not have it. It basically
Interesting.
runs the 1X version. But then targets 60 FPS. It has the same resolution, all the other stuff. And when I say it tries to hit 60 FPS, it really does. It can hit it, but I'd say on average you'll be probably getting like between 50 and 55 FPS. But like normally,
Now, are you better off?
would figure that out.
Are you better off? Are you better off choosing quality?
Yeah, I'd say if you want to play the game right now on the best settings, I would go for quality mode because it has a locked 30 FPS and the resolution goes up by a lot. It goes from like 1200p to 1800p, and the detail in the city becomes much more. Like people say there's no difference between the modes, they are lying. You can clearly see the difference, and it makes the game feel a lot more immersive because of the higher resolution. So I would highly recommend people playing that on that mode instead. At least until we get the next gen patch, I guess.
I mean, my experience with the performance in Cyberpunk, I saw a video with a guy testing it on PC with like different hardware. So if you're running a 3080, you can run RTX with high with DLSS. You can't run RTX without DLSS at all.
No.
It's not to run even with the 3090, like impossible. So that's something I noticed, and I would say that RTX doesn't really make much of a difference. I didn't really notice much of a difference because the lighting is just so good in this game for some reason. But yeah, I don't know how it actually looks IRL.
I don't know if Ashley or Beans saw PC gameplay with RTX. But
I personally haven't. I haven't checked any actual gameplay on PC. I've been kind of like not wanting to really watch stuff about Cyberpunk because I kind of want to like experience it myself, you know. But yeah.
I've watched a few streamers in playing PC, but I don't know, what they had, what their setup was, but
well,
I mean, it looked.
yeah, I can tell that from what I saw one that was like full max settings. The guy had a Ryzen 9 5950X, so that's like top of the range CPU, along with a 3090 GPU. And at that point, the immersion feeling of the city becomes so much higher because of the ray tracing. You really have to see it yourself, because it's not just reflections. For example, we saw it in Watch Dogs Legion, where reflections in water are ray traced. But this game also has ray traced lighting from the sun, the moon, ricochets of the building, neon signs that are reflecting ray traced. It's every single lighting option in the game that's ray traced, and when you see that, I'd say that's really a step up to the next generation of games. Because
yeah, I also saw some RTX candles.
Yeah, the only downside, of course, is you need a $4,000 PC probably, or around that.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's all. No big problem.
That's all you need.
$4,000.
No, but talking about ray tracing, I did hear that ray tracing is coming to the consoles. So Series X and PlayStation 5 will definitely have it.
Yes.
I don't know about Series S, but there will be a ray tracing mode available on the next gen patch. So
Exciting.
anything else you guys want to talk about Cyberpunk? I mean, we're here already. Ashley, go ahead. Anything you want to say?
I feel like we pretty much covered it all. I'm just in awe of the photo mode. That's really honestly my favorite thing right now. I was a big photography person on Red Dead. I did a lot of the car show pictures when we did car shows on GTA. So that's definitely my favorite feature, and the fact that, yeah, you are in first person for the whole game, but photo mode gives you a chance to look at your character, enjoy your character, put it in all kinds of cool places and poses, and it's the variety of things that you can do with your character just in photo mode is insane. The poses, the facial expressions, everything. It's pretty crazy. So that's my favorite part, I think, of the game, honestly, besides the actual game.
You would say buy Cyberpunk if you're a photo nut, you'll definitely get your money worth in that.
Just in that, I feel, yeah, just because it's such a beautiful game and you can literally capture it. You can be in the middle of a mission and you can hit the camera and take a picture mid-mission of your action. It's insane. So yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I did saw a small preview of that where a person blew up a car and activated camera mode, and then you can put your person in different poses and.
Yep. It's amazing. It's a really cool feature that you can do it in the middle of a mission.
Yeah, it really does have a lot of features. It's not just you sit down and you can take a picture. Now you have a whole bunch of options that you can do to make it.
It's pretty much like a way more upgraded Rockstar editor, but
It's
without
an editor
having to go to
inside the
Rockstar
game.
editor.
Yeah, it's an editor inside the
beautiful.
game.
Yeah.
All right, Beans, anything you want to say to close it off?
It definitely lived up to the hype. For me, at least, I'm always a big fan of open world RPG style games that give you multiple different types of, scenes and altercations depending on which route you go. So there's multiple different, gameplay availability. The character customization is great. It didn't 100% live to what people were saying that you could do, but you can still do quite a lot to your character, which is really interesting. But yeah, overall, I'm having a great time. I can't wait to actually get more into it. I'm still, I guess you could say in the prologue. So I still haven't gotten too far into it, but so far,
So
you
still have
definitely lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have a long ways to go, and I'm definitely hyped for it, and I can't wait to keep on playing. It's definitely lived up to my expectations, and it's definitely my game of the year.
Game of the year. All right. Well, I can say about the whole hype thing. I think the game really does live up to the hype, but we'll get to that in a minute. Because Yusuf, last round, what do you want to say about the game before we close it off?
I mean, something really interesting that I want to talk about is the choosing of the way you want to go, like the Street Kid and Nomad and Corp thing. So like I first thought that it was gonna be something like each pass has like its own different endings, but it turns out that all three of the passes like meet up eventually at a mission. So it isn't like each pass is like different completely. There's like you meet up. Yeah.
I have to say, like after what you say, you choose a path, and I feel like I can't talk about Street Kid or Corporate because I went Nomad, but I have a feeling roughly, let's say 2 hours in, you will, what you say, come at that path where I guess all the other ones will align up.
They merge. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I think as far as the Nomad and the Corp, it's just y'all it takes you longer to get to Night City. In the Street Kid, you are just there.
Yeah, but is the time where you start the game up until the point where you get into that first mission the same for each one? And I guess
I believe so. From watching you, it seemed like mine took about the same to get to that same point.
yeah, that's what
I think the first point is the mission where you gotta rescue that girl. That's the meetup point of all the paths, I think.
Yeah, but one interesting thing was on that mission, and I noticed Ashley actually had a different ending on the first mission than I had. And I'm not sure if it had to do with like the additional options that you have on missions. You have like the yellow marker, but you sometimes also have like a red thing underneath it that's like a secondary option.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like doing that influenced the mission overall because um, I remember that you were in the last room, and I actually had to fight a robot there. That took me quite a while to defeat. And
Oh, you did.
you only had two guides that you can just walk
Yeah.
down. Yeah. And then you
Yeah,
walked
and it was
out,
super easy.
and you walked out, and there was like what's the guy called again? I almost called him Vincent, but it is not.
Oh, Jackie.
Jackie, you
Yeah.
meet up with Jackie there, and then you can go.
Mm-hmm.
But I went outside, and there were like 4 SWAT vehicles there with a police,
Oh, wow.
and they were actually telling me stuff. I could talk to her, so that was kind of interesting to me because that's only one mission, one small side mission, and it also had a totally different end. So
That is
Yeah.
actually very interesting.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get all the optional stuff done because I want to be able to actually have all the the extra cutscenes that are available.
But I gotta say, my favorite
yeah, go ahead, Yusuf.
my favorite path of like all the three of them is Nomad, because like you actually get to experience driving and like experience the desert. Because I don't think you can actually go to the desert if like you can't go to the desert until like far into the game. But like just seeing it at first, like it's just so good. Like the desert is, I gotta say, one of the best parts of the game.
Yeah, as a street kid, I didn't get to drive for quite a minute.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of interesting because without spoiling too much, I mean, later on, obviously, you'll get back to the desert. But yeah, if you wanna, that's why I went Nomad, because I could experience the outside first and then go into the city to get like a feeling for both.
Right.
But everyone has different opinions about that or what they prefer. It's totally fine. One other thing is about outcomes on missions, and this might be interesting for you achievement hunters. Some achievements are missable in this game. You have to choose very specific text that you answer to persons in order to progress in that achievement. So that's another thing to think about, like how complicated this game is. If you say to a person, go fuck yourself, rather than giving a lollipop for that matter,
Your choices matter.
you will not get a specific item that will unlock an actual achievement on Xbox. So
Right.
that's something to consider. So last rounds, I guess. Numbers. Ash, rate the game. Cyberpunk 2077. What's your final verdict?
So I'm gonna rank it based on Xbox Series X, or I'm sorry, Xbox One X, or S. Jeez, I don't even know my own Xbox. I did that.
every single
Xbox One S. Yeah. If I were to rate it on my base model Xbox, I would say still a 7 out of 10. There were a few tiny bugs, and even though I don't notice the difference, I know that the resolution could be a lot better if I were on another console. But the game itself, I want to give it a 9 out of 10 because it's honestly everything they kind of promised us. It's beautiful. I mean, what game doesn't start out with bugs? Look at other games that we've played, and I honestly feel as a whole 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. That's a solid number. Beans, what's your verdict?
Yeah. Well, I can agree with Ash. I was gonna give it a 9 out of 10 myself. Like I said, I haven't really came across any issues. I can't wait to actually keep playing it. And like I said, this is definitely my game of the year. There was no other game that I was excited for, and I've been waiting for this game since about 2017 when I first heard about it. I know it's been in development since 2013, but yeah,
Around 7 years. Yep.
yeah, but yeah, it's definitely lived up to my expectations. 9 out of 10 all day.
Alright, and last but not least, Yusuf, you didn't play the game, but I mean, what you all saw and the hype, how would you rate the game so far?
Yeah. Yeah, off of gameplay alone, I will say it's a 9.5 out of 10. And the only reason it didn't get 10 out of 10 is because the largest dick in the dick customization in the game isn't quite large enough.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He had to add some Yusuf to his interview, didn't he?
Oh my god. Well, for me personally, I'd say the game, playing it on Series X, God, this is a tough one. Not considering the bugs, there were a few bugs out there, but I'm pretty sure with the track record of CP Project Red, they will get patched in the next couple of weeks, if not already, because I hardly played on the new patch that came out today. I would say, oh god, I'd say I just give it a 10 out of 10, and the reason is that the last game that impressed me this much was Red Dead Redemption Story, and I felt it was a giant leap forwards on anything that we saw back in the day. It had like the most beautiful open world. All of a sudden, the immersion was there. The quality, the resolution, everything matched, and I feel that this game, even though we still don't have the next gen patch, which will surely make it a lot more pretty, I feel that this game, just by walking in the city, I get an immersive feeling that I never had before in any game. I walk there and I look up and I hear sounds and I see the crowd, I see people talking, eating. It almost feels like a real world, and that feeling, along with the tiniest detail that I saw, like yesterday I was put in a car, she said sit next to me, and I got in the car, and rather than just a stupid NPC getting in the car and going away, no, she sat in the car, she took a seat and she actually corrected it to her length, so she put the seat right and then she drove off. And it's those small details in the
so realistic
that make it for me a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's beautiful. One thing we should have gone over was our opinions of the character customization.
Yeah,
I gone through that already.
Well, you did, yes, but I just want to comment. Yes, it's fun, and yes, you know, they have a lot of like different things, but I'm just impressed with the hairstyles. First of all, there's so many options. I mean, and all, you know, all around the customization is very interesting. It's not too clown-like like Saints Row, where everything's over exaggerated, even though that's, you know, how Yusuf wants it. It's fun, and you can literally make anything you want with your character and do anything you want with your character, and it's just another part of the game that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, feel that the character customization is good. But I do know from sources that it was a lot more detailed 2 years ago. People who had previews on E3 and Gamescom, if I'm correct, the character customization was a lot more deep, and also the story based. Like right now, you get a screen and you say, "Oh, I'll pick Nomad, Corporate, or Street Kid." But back in the day, if you actually picked it, you had to come up with background stories, so you can actually click like, my brother was killed, my mom's still alive but divorced, stuff like that. You can actually make a whole background for that specific role you took. So it has been nerfed, and I have the feeling that they did it to make it more appealing to the general public, rather than making it like a niche product.
Interesting.
But yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up. So this is the review of Cyberpunk 2077. Links are in the description if you want to check out the Twitch channels. And yeah, I guess we'll see you on the next one.